We have got Dr. Mohan Agarwal ji to facilitate today's session, case teaching. He is president of Gulf Marketing Association, headquartered at Dubai, and presently he is based at Dubai and he has taken the pain to connect despite all the hindrances. He is a professor of business, as we all know, and marketing guru. He has been former US Fulbright Fellow, European Foundation of Management Development Fellow to Paris, and British Council Fellow twice to Glasgow and Leicester, UK. He is also a fellow of Chartered Institute of Marketing, London. Dr. Agarwal is an award-winning teacher and case researcher in marketing, innovation, and services marketing, and customer relationship management. That is how we respect him as a marketing guru because of his distinguished contributions. He has published large number of research papers, cases in variety of media, including international journals, conferences, and various forums. He has been a very well received, very well respected corporate trainer, and he has got his clients across the globe. Some of the select few that includes Boss India, China, Japan, Emeritus NBD Bank, Landmark UAE, Hatton National Bank in Sri Lanka, Tata Group, Birla Group, Reliance Group, NTPC, ONGC, GAIL, we can count on in India. So he has got his training clientele across the globe and almost all the big organizations that we know in India as well. The World Education Forum has recognized him as the best professor of marketing in Asia, and he has also been recognized at the most impactful thought leaders at various global platforms. We are really honored to welcome you, Dr. Mohan Agarwal ji, and we look forward to having a very exciting and knowledgeable session today. So over to you, sir.
The third thing that I would like to talk about is what is online teaching and why it is important and what are the tips for that. And not only I will talk what I have to say, in between I will also be playing some videos so that you can hear the view of others also and juxtapose them together to have a better view of the theme. And the fourth is online case discussion. So when we will be doing this online case discussion, we are not just teaching, but it is a workshop. And therefore, in this particular session itself, we will discuss cases. And those cases will be as if you have not read them. I mean, why as if? You have actually not read them. So therefore, we will be discussing two cases. One will be text case and the second will be the video case. That what do we do and how do we discuss a case which is in the written form or a case which is in the visual form, audio-visual form. So that is what exactly we are going to do today. This is our agenda. We will be breaking very, very frequently and absolutely no issues relating to whatever you want to say. Okay, let me go to the third person, Mr. Harish Sandhuja.
Thank you.
Mr. Sandhuja, please introduce yourself and answer this riddle for us. We are confused at this moment.
I actually work for the schools, but I'm for Jaipuria Group of Educational Institution, and I think this is a very good question what you're posing. What we should do as an organization at that point of time, had I been there, I would have kind of actually refunded the money of the person, because it is a very big learning for us that if in our presence someone can steal the thing, then I think it's a learning for us as an organization that the things are being stolen. Secondly, this person can always be kind of, then after doing this return, the person can be kind of targeted in terms of if he comes again, because it would be a learning for us that this person has to be tracked. And at the same time, we can check all our backend systems that how we can mend this loop in our system so that we don't have more people kind of stealing things from our system. So it's a big learning. So that I think should be the policy.
Thank you, Mr. Harish. I really appreciate the way you have, and I have to say this, that you are an excellent teacher, really excellent teacher. Okay, let me go to Dr. Jitendra. Go ahead, sir. You were saying something. Kindly unmute yourself.
Yeah, we need to separate two issues. One is that there is a challenge of dealing with the customer who has come with a region that organization has set. and second is the process of the organization, which has its own implications. So we need to separate these two issues because they are different, and we need to address both differently. So for customer, we have to refund because he has a right, and there is no point in spoiling the relation and creating a bad feeling, which is against the policy of the organization.
Yes,
but this is a feedback which should go, that one is the security process, which is having deficiency and things can be stolen. So that has to be strengthened. That is a part of process improvement where the employees inside is equally valued, as you put in the beginning as a rule.
Yeah, as in rule number two. Rule number two. Not rule number one, but rule number two. So rule number one was customers are most important.
Exactly. So rule number 2 has to be utilized, and this feedback has to go to the organization. And when the process review happens, these things can be addressed.
Okay. All right. How are they in the first 4 years of your teaching, and how are they in the last 3 years of your teaching?
In the last 3 years, the peer learning is better than the initial 4 years.
Why?
Because of the use of more interactive platforms and different pedagogies that are available these days.
Okay, so teaching pedagogy as well as technology both have provided a lot more opportunities for people to contribute. Is this what you're saying?
Yes, absolutely, sir.
Very, very good, very good. What is the takeaway you got? And last question from you about the 10 traits that I talked about students. Which one is not in your list?
I guess most of them, or probably all of them, is in my list. Apart from that, I would rather like to add one, that would be that students are probably even more challenging now. That means they would like to cross-check the information that is being provided by the academicians these days in comparison to earlier, because they are having different sources to avail information. They are
challenge is good, right?
Absolutely, sir.
Okay, all right. Kanchana, are you there?
Yes, sir. Very good morning, sir.
Very good morning. Would you like to very quickly introduce, and then I have a question for you?
Yes, sir. I'm Professor Kanchana, and I'm with Jaipur School of Business, and I'm teaching, taking care of HR and OB, organizational behavior.
All right. So this is the honesty time, right? And we are all among what we call the Turkish toilet. Okay. Where we are learning from each other in the same way, and nobody should be hiding from each other. So, Kanchana, question for you is that in your teaching, how many minutes after you break when you start to listen to the students? Honesty time.
So, after every 30 minutes.
30.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. And do you take questions or do you start something of your own?
So I take their questions.
Okay. All right, perfectly. Now, this is what I consider a topical case. And look at the definition. It is a brief story on a real life business or management situation recently in public domain that teases, kindly note the word, that teases on decision dilemma or an uncertain outcome. It is teasing you. I hope you understand the word teasing. Teasing means that you are attracting people, but you are not giving them the whole thing. That could be one explanation. And here are some of the examples of what it is. You see this particular link. Now, this particular link is showing a story which broke out somewhere in January 2020, that is early this year, or almost beginning of the year, where Bajaj brought Chetak scooter back. And that Chetak scooter back was brought in a different format. And that particular format was e-scooter. E-scooter would be, you could say, either energy efficient or electronic or sustainable energy thing, or something which is less polluting. Different ways this particular thing was given. Now, this particular thing, when I saw, I went to different media and different newspapers. And based on that particular thing, I wrote a 2-page case study. Only 2 pages, and I did not follow exactly the point that this video was mentioning. I defined each one of them. I said, no. Why? Because what you are saying is a slow process. You are talking about classic cases. You are talking about Harvard-like cases. This is no doubt very important, but this is taking too much time. Faculty doesn't have that much time, doesn't have that much facility, doesn't have that much access to information, doesn't have funding, doesn't have a kind of respite from your teaching responsibilities. So where will you get the time to write the case the way you are describing in the video, the way you are describing it in Harvard or any other method, where you are talking of a case which is running into 20 or 30 pages, and those 20 and 30 pages may be almost 7 or 8 pages of data or stats or tables, and people lose interest in that. And plus, the audience who is there, that audience is not the audience that you have. What is the audience you have? You have got practicing people coming to your business school. The people who have 5 years to 10 years to 20 years to 25 years of work experience. And then they are doing the kind of MBA. While in India or schools like India, you are not doing the meeting with those people. You are meeting freshers, coming people from undergrad to postgraduate, almost like a gravy train, that from one dish to another dish to another dish. You do not have the intervention of work experience. So therefore, these particular cases will become either useless, I'm sorry to use the term, or they will become overwhelming.
Starbucks is a global brand with more than 30,000 stores around the world. Australian chain Gloria Jean's Coffees has close to 760 cafes in over 55 countries, but they haven't cracked the market in Vietnam. Gloria Jean's exited Vietnam entirely in 2017, after 10 years in the market. While Starbucks has grown since it entered Vietnam in 2013, the number of Starbucks per capita is low compared to neighboring markets. There's just one Starbucks per 1.7 million people in Vietnam. That means the competition is fierce as international chains go head-to-head with local chains. On the whole, local chains are expanding faster and performing better than their international counterparts. With its long coffee history and abundance of high-quality Joe on every corner, coffee in Vietnam is a way of life. With mom-and-pop coffee shops still occupying a large share of the coffee market in Vietnam, a big question remains. Do international chains stand a chance in Vietnam? Living in the world's second largest coffee exporter, Vietnamese people have tons of local options when it comes to coffee. The market is highly fragmented, with small family-owned and independent shops making up the bulk of coffee sales. There are over 540,000 restaurants in Vietnam, and over 430,000 of them are street stalls. Even the 5 largest coffee chains in Vietnam collectively hold just a fraction of the market, 15.3%. The popular Highlands coffee tops the list with 7.2%. Filipino fast food giant Jollibee has a majority stake in Highlands. And even though Starbucks holds the number 2 spot in sales, it's still less than 3% of the entire coffee market in Vietnam. At those small roadside shops, coffee costs less than $1. They're fast, and some provide services like Wi-Fi and shoe shines. And their biggest advantage? There are thousands of them. Analysts say a cup of coffee at a Vietnamese Starbucks typically costs substantially more than a similar drink at a local chain like Highlands. In general, Vietnamese consumers spend about 2.5 times more money at Western outlets than they do at Asian outlets.
I
Sir.
teach at Jaipuria Institute of Management in Indrapuram, Ghaziabad.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I understand simulation is like this. Suppose somebody asks to swim in a sea. So it cannot be explained, and one has to go exactly real time. Okay, similar situation is to be created and then learned. in that situation. Okay. In academics, we talk about, let us say we want to study some business law case. So there we have to exactly uh, simulate all the parameters of the case. And then the not only results, after that what happens, that also to be seen. That means after effects also to be seen. So that is covered in simulation. And in case study, only decision making is there, that this is the case, this is the past parameters, and this should be the case. So that I understand. Yeah.
I think you have hit the nail extremely well by saying that there are after effects also, and those after effects come out of a simulation much better than probably in a case study. Is that correct, Dr. Singh?
Yeah, exactly. Because it has to go further also, apart from present situation. Yeah. Thank you.
Appreciate. Thank you, sir. So my question to you is that one of the things that have been said about this simulation, that it is a more fun. What does it mean when somebody says it is more fun?
Yes, sir. Thank you for asking a question. First, I like to share what I think about simulation. Simulation is like, I'll just give you a real life example. In our CBSE, we have been told to go into design thinking. And what is it all about is that the students are required to develop a product, think of a situation which actually can solve a problem. Like one of our students have taken problems of elderly. Like elderly, they face problems when they go for a walk alone. They fall, they don't have anyone to resort to. So they have empathized with the elderly, with the problems that they face after the age of 60, 65 plus, and they have designed a product. They have designed a protocol of the product, looked into the problems, and after the protocol has been developed, we are going to see its relevance, how well it is applicable to the problems of the elderly. This is one thing. So basically creating a model, simulation is all about creating a real life situation for to solve any kind of a problem. Like even we've been doing it for last 10 years in CBSE also, like in business studies, in the marketing project, we asked the students to develop a product. So they analyze all their existing products, and then they implement all the P's of the marketing, they develop a product and see its relevance in the market. Similarly, in accountancy students also, we've been doing it for the last few years, wherein the students go through the annual report of a company, they prepare the cash flow statement, they interpret the cash flow statement, they compute the ratios. So basically, any child who is a pass out of 12th, he will be able to read the annual statement, financial statements, and would be able to interpret it, analyze the profitability or the debt situation of the company. So it's basically enabling the students get into a problem and then sort out solutions for it. So, and then coming down to the question that you asked was, it would be fun because, yes, sir, thank you. It would be fun because
this is exactly the
it would be fun because
that first teacher.
Yes. No, I just wanted to share my thought on that. It would be fun because they'll be able to relate to everything. Whatever they've studied, they'll be able to apply it. So they'll be able to connect to the environment. Whenever they will read an annual report and publish in the newspaper, they'll be able to connect, they'll be able to talk to the parents, and then it will go into the long-term memory. So the learning will become very natural and spontaneous.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. I think this is, both your thoughts as well as the answer, both are very, very important for me. So I want to tell you one limitation of simulation for teachers, that we can write cases very easily, but simulations we cannot write easily. So we have to choose the simulations which have been written by others. And how do we choose? We choose them based on customization. How much I can customize that case, situation, simulation situation for my course, for my topic that I'm trying to talk about. Second, how much time do I have for this class? Half hour, 1 hour, 2 hour, whole day, and each and every simulation has that kind of time limit or that kind of optimum time duration built into that. How much complexity should I bring into it? Because each and every simulation has a number of variables, and each variable cannot be played into action if you have got less time or if you have got the lower level of class to teach. Like for instance, if you're teaching introductory classes in the MBA 1 or introductory classes in BBA, then you really have to be careful in terms of complexity level. Not that they cannot understand, but you will not be able to take it to a logical conclusion. Our goal is not to show off what we know. Our goal is to help them understand certain complex things in an easy way. How about Dr. Sadanand?
Sir, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Okay, so I'm Sadanand, who is working as a faculty member at Jaipuria Institute of Management. Okay,
Where?
first at here itself, Jaipuria Management Institute of Management, Ghaziabad.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Ji.
So what I perceive, because whatever the situations are you have given within like or whatever the glimpse I have seen, that I could not able to like remember all these things here, but this is a clear thing that you have given some situations, and on the basis of like your students, whenever they will attempt that in different combinations of the quality and the style, okay, so they will go for that which one actually better and given the cost. That means
Ji.
whatever is the cost has been given to them.
Ji.
Instead of that, I'm coming a little bit like or in a different tool called as
Ji.
what we are solving the problem, and through this, that is called the game theory.
Ji.
Okay, in the game theory, we used to also formulate the same type of the strategy, and the students used to be asked that if I will be reducing the price by 5% of the existing price, whatever is the existing price, let me reduce by 5%. Then how much is the sales impact for the sale? Okay, so they have to build on these situations or the different strategies. Okay, and same case also is for the advertisement. If I am just increasing my advertisement expenditure, then you please tell me that whether my sales figure also has increased or not. So that way they will be building in different combinations. Then they will come out with that what is the best strategy, okay, out of that, and they will get some idea that in this particular situation, then this is the expected outcome, what you have mentioned. And that exactly, sir, what you wanted to also portray here in this through this model, that whether it is a marketing simulation you are talking about, even sometimes also used to give the stock market simulations, like in some of these. Because whether I will go for buying a share, if you are going for a buying a share, then you have to give the logical aspects. It's not like that my assumption is not based on
so
any.
What is the takeaway, Dr. Prashi, you got from this? So from this particular simulation, what is your takeaway?
Yes, my takeaway, sir, is that because one cannot be unrealistic. Okay, and if you are giving like how much is the information you are having in the given situation, and also you can go outside also, whatever is the conditions have been provided to you. This is a market news.
In this particular case, we did not provide that flexibility.
Absolutely.
We provided limitation of only 2.
Yes.
Only
so
2.
Yeah.
Because of the time dimension that I had in mind. What was the time dimension I had? Only 2 hours, right? Yeah. And I am not going to meet them. But this is not a great simulation for the entire course of marketing.
Absolutely.
Because entire course of marketing will involve multiple factors, not just these 2. Correct, Dr.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
This was the point I wanted to build here, that you have to choose a simulation based on the situation you are in.
Yes.
Are you teaching only one session, or are you taking the whole course? Like that, that will also determine this, right? Absolutely. You agree with me, Dr.? Huh?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Sadanand. All about risk taking. In other words, you have a consequence of every action. Stay open throughout to learn from the students all the time, like we are also learning from them. And of course, please, from your bottom of the heart, sincerely thank them for the collaborative learning and for the new points that you learned as a faculty. Believe me, this is a very, very learning important session for faculty also. that what are the new things that you learned from them as a result of your, working with them. How was the session, by the way, Sanandi?
It was excellent.
Really?
Starting from the law of diminishing marginal utility to moving on the difference between cases and the simulation. I learned one thing, that in case there is a protagonist usually and he already solves the problem, but in simulation the student becomes the protagonist and he solves the problem.
Beautiful point you have made. Thank you very much. I will remember what you said. Very nice. Great. How are you?
Yes, sir. I'm very fine, sir. Thank you. And sir, it was a great session again, listening to you for the second time. And I think I will remember this for the coming time. But sir, first I'll talk about my takeaway. My takeaway is that I think simulations are more precise as compared to case studies because they have consequences. And that makes it, I think, a little more interesting. And second thing, that it is a motivation for students to compete in the class because they would also like to test themselves. So I think these are the takeaways from your session, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ganesh. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Great learning. Sir, I would like to know, could you elaborate a bit on debriefing, a bit more information?
Excellent question that you have asked. And I'm glad that you caught that particular concept. Debriefing is listening to the students. What you did, why you did, explain to me why you got A grade or B grade or C grade, or why you are number 9 out of 10, or why you are number 1, like that.
Okay, sir.
That is called debriefing. Debriefing means explain to me your thinking.
So bring
which
them
you
to
had.
Yes.
Exactly. Because then that way you can correct the thinking also in case you believe that they are continuously doing the same thing.
Yes.
Does it make sense to you?
Very
good
sir.
point that you have made.
Thank you
very
so
good
much.
point. Thank you.